What's up, my loves? Welcome back to another episode of This Too Shall Suck podcast. As you can see, I'm live and direct in the studio. This is my very first live studio recording. You know, we've been in the pandemic, so everything's been on video, on Zoom, but I'm super, super excited to be here. This episode, we're gonna be diving into relationships. Everybody has been asking me over and over and over again to do this episode, so here it is. I brought it to you. So on this episode, instead of doing the regular relationship panel where we do the single males and the single females and we talk about the woes and the grief of dating, I can do that all by myself. I can do 2 episodes, I can do 3 episodes, I can do all the episodes on it. But I wanted to bring a different perspective to it. So I have 2 very special people here, 2 of my very best friends. So I have one of my very best friends, Fred. He's going to be talking from the perspective of dating after a divorce as well as being in an interracial relationship. And also I have one of my very other best friends, Ebonie, aka Ebo. She's going to be talking about dating after being engaged for a long period of time and also being in the LGBTQ plus, don't forget the plus, community as well. So without further ado, I would like to welcome 2 of my very best friends, Fred and Ebo.
Yay.
Oh my God. Why did y'all do that on cue like? Yes, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
No, thank you guys for being
Appreciate
here. I mean, we're just having a conversation. So, you know, that's what we do on here. So if you watch on YouTube, all we doing is having a conversation, okay? So, I don't even know who to start with. Where we want to start? Who want to start? Fred?
Oh, it's me? Oh,
Fred.
okay. All right.
All right. So, Fred, we're going to dive into the divorce part first because that was what happened first. First came, you know, first come love, then come the marriage, then come divorce.
In that order, yeah.
In that order. No, you had a baby and then divorce. You know, first come love, then come
Yes,
marriage,
so
then come the baby and the baby carriage, then divorce.
Then divorce.
That sounds really sad.
Yeah,
I'm
then
very
child
sorry.
support.
Oh,
Support, yeah.
okay. All right.
Yeah, all that.
Well, I'm not going to get into your story. I'm not going to get into that story. I'm not getting into that story of how you got divorced. I'm very sorry for that. But I know that y'all are working through your co-parenting, and that's great.
Yeah.
So we can actually talk about that a little bit. Well, we'll talk about that after because obviously you know why we're here to talk about the dating. So let's talk about when you got divorced. So when you first got divorced, you know, you were thinking about dating. Well, first of all, how long did it take you to think about getting back out there when you first got divorced?
Me personally, just being overwhelmed with everything from a mental standpoint, spiritual standpoint, it took me, honestly, maybe like a couple years before I took anyone seriously. Like, just being comfortable. I think the biggest part with me was just getting back within myself.
Yeah.
Like going through my divorce, like you said, having a son, going through all of that, like I felt like a failure. You know, like it's different when you go from having a family, you know, you're working for your family, you have your goals, and it doesn't work out. You know, I don't see my son every day. I don't hear him playing every day.
Yeah.
So it was like I really wasn't concerned with really getting back out there. It was really building myself back up. And I think that took more time than what I thought. And once I got to that point, you know, then I could share that with someone else.
Right.
But it took a long time.
Right.
Like I think it was part of the biggest reason why I started joining the gym and doing things like that, like self-soothing. I had to open up. Luckily, I had an older brother that went through some of those things that helped me out.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
Right.
even like some of my friends try to push you to go out, and it's just you're not ready, man. I mean, it was a big psychological, a big thing for me.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, so far as dating, it took a while, but once I think the advantage, I don't know, there's an advantage to divorce. I learned a lot about myself.
Okay.
Just going through it.
Yeah, of course.
Because I mean, you're talking with both parties and what they don't like, and you're arguing and disagreeing. You know what I mean? You learn a lot about yourself, and you also learn a lot of what you accept in your partner. Like going through all that today, I know what I like, I know what I don't like, I know what I tolerate, and what I want. So it's kind of, you learn from it.
Yeah.
You know, after a while, it's just like going through anything else. You go through something, it's a hard time, you go through that storm, but you learn from it. So when you face it again, or when you come to something similar, you shouldn't have to go through those same mistakes. You know?
Yeah.
So that was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, I believe that. And Eva, I kind of want to piggyback off that because I know you were engaged for a long time.
Yes.
So I heard you saying like, it sounds like some of that stuff kind of resonated with you.
Absolutely. The learning part, just kind of having that time to rebuild yourself, because I get it, you know, with the failure, just being an athlete. I'm always out here trying to win, you know,
Right.
in every aspect of life.
Right.
So having that failure, it was tough. And then especially going through it when the pandemic was going on as well.
Yeah.
Mentally, it was very hard. But luckily I had a great, you know, supporting system that helped me go through it. But at the same time, I think being within that pandemic and just having that alone time to really, you know, reevaluate everything that happened within the relationship.
Yeah.
But then also looking at myself. Because you can't just go around, you know, blaming one person.
Right.
Two people in this relationship, you know. So I had to take the ownership of my failures and understanding that to where the next relationship, whenever that's coming, I'll be ready for it.
Like I said, whenever it comes. Right, whenever that happens. So what I hear you guys saying is like the failure. I'm really interested in that. Why do you, like, where did, and for you said about the athlete.
Absolutely.
You know, so is that, you know, do you think that's where it came from? Like, why is the stigma of breaking up or divorcing, like, why is that a failure? Why can't it just be, it just didn't happen to work out? Two people just didn't work out. Like, why do we put that pressure on ourselves to say it's a failure?
I say for me, we had a plan. We had a vision, and it didn't come to fruition. So that plan failed. So within that failure of the plan, I failed. I'm a failure. What can I do the next time to not be in this same situation? Or within the, you know, process of these plans, where did I fail? You know, with, you know, whatever my partner was needing. Did I fail to give them that? You know, you just failed.
I mean, I feel the same way, like you have a plan. Like for me as a man, you know, like I got married young, I had a kid, and it's like, you know, it's my responsibility. You know, I'm supposed to be able to fulfill certain things. You know what I mean? Like no one goes into a marriage thinking,
I'm gonna get divorced tomorrow.
yeah, I'm gonna get divorced tomorrow. Like
Right.
I want to fulfill my wife. You know what I
Right.
mean? If it's something that she's not doing, then it's an issue that we need to work out. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like on every level, financially, every level.
Yeah.
So when someone comes to you or you guys come together, and you're not happy for a certain reason.
Yeah.
then you're gonna automatically feel a certain way.
Right.
Because the way that I am is, you know, for my family, that's all I have. Like especially if you're married, that's when you're married. I'm doing anything and everything I can. You know, within my power.
Yeah.
And it's like, if that's not enough, then it's like, what else can I do? Or if you're in a situation where you feel like you're doing everything you can, you're reaching out to everything, and there's nothing to hold on to,
Yeah.
then it's just, you know, you feel alone, you feel like a failure. You know, it's a really tough feeling, you know what I mean? To try to extend to someone or try to get someone to hear where you're coming from. Or even if you guys are talking to each other, you can't come to a common ground.
Yeah.
You know, it's very frustrating and it hurts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I can believe that. So, again, I'm not going to dive into y'all's relationships and why y'all broke up because obviously we're friends. Please, let's not go there. Let's not. But I want to talk about that building up. You know, how the things that you did. I know you talked about the gym a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and also, Ebonie, I want to ask you as well. What are some things that you did during that time to kind of build yourself back up?
To me, it started just with confidence. So that
Like
was,
you had
I
confidence?
had none. Like after the divorce, it's like I was kind of. To me, it was starting from the beginning. You know, I was married. You know, I wasn't in like the best of shape anyway. So
had a
so
dad bod.
had the dad
Had the
bod
papa
going.
belly.
You know, yeah, you know, more responsibility. You had more responsibility. So I,
What they call a happy
neglected
weight?
gym.
That's happy weight though.
Yeah, I guess.
Ain't nobody happy about this.
Yeah, it wasn't happy. It's a stress weight. But yeah, going to the gym helped a lot. And it actually, like, you know, not only physically, but like mentally, you know what I mean? Like it was easy to go to the gym, put a podcast on or put something on inspirational or even like listen to the Bible or
Like
anything
punch
like that.
some punching bags.
Oh, yeah,
whatever,
you let go of that, you know what I mean? That stress, you know, even if it's momentarily, you know what I mean? Like I would go to the gym sometimes twice a day. I would go 5-6 times a week until, you know, I got to a certain point where I was comfortable to go out or, you know, I could put on clothes and feel like, oh, okay.
So it started with the physical for you.
the physical for me.
Because the confidence.
And I
So when
think-
you lost the confidence, was it physical confidence or was it
Well,
like?
The whole thing is like at the end of our relationship, there was, you know, I'm getting a little deep. There was like nothing physical. Like I felt like she wasn't attracted to me. I wasn't attracted to her.
Yeah.
And you know, feeling that way, that's just like coming out of it. That's how I felt.
Like,
Everyone.
Yeah.
you know
No,
what I mean?
no, I'm not attracted
yeah, I'm
to
not
it.
attracted.
Yeah.
So you know, it's like, you know, you're somewhere at a bar or something. The girls talk to me. I'm like, oh. You know,
Right.
I just didn't have that same oomph that I would have, you know, prior to being divorced. It took me a while to build that up.
Right.
But I think working out, you know, even buying like new clothes, just playing a part. Just like how they say, like, you dress for the job you want, not for the one you have. I think it was like the same type mentality.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It helps you build that character. Like, if I wake up in the morning, I speak these things into my mind, and I'm actually doing things that's actually, you know, taking small steps to get there.
Right.
You know, whether it's reading a book or, you know what I mean, listening to something on YouTube, something inspirational every day, it really helped me a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I would make it a point to wake up in my car and just like listen to something that's motivating me every day. And that would help me like get through the day, or the days that I felt sad or whatever, those feelings come back. Just instead of sitting there listening to slow music and sobbing and
Right.
getting a bottle, you know, I would listen to something inspirational and do something more constructive.
That's good.
You know.
That's good. Did you ever reach out to any of your friends during that time? Or did you feel like you couldn't because like you didn't have friends who were divorced?
To be honest with you, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed. I was very embarrassed because it's like, it's a very personal thing. I took it personal. Like,
Yeah.
it was, I was embarrassed. So I didn't say anything. You know, I had one friend that wouldn't let me, you know, like he was in there at my house every day, you know, so I had no choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was like, nah, you need to go out and do something. My brother would be the same way.
Right.
You know, so it's like with them, that helped a lot. But man, I mean, you know, I'm a very internal person. And, you know, it takes a lot for me to talk about my feelings. So it's like talking to like going home facing my parents, you know, going home looking at my sister, or people asking me about this and this, because we were in the same groups a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It became too much at times, you know? So I kind of backpedaled into my little hole for a while
Understandable.
until I was ready to come out and say hi again.
So that's why you use other things.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But I mean, everyone's different. You know, I know some people that went through similar things, they jump right back out there. You know what I mean? And that's cool. That's great.
Yeah.
You know, that you can do that. But
It's just not your
It
ministry.
took me a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get that. And Evo, I know you talked about like having a support network and reaching out.
Absolutely.
You know, is there some other things that you did after that? Because I know we talked a lot, obviously.
Yeah,
You know, during that time. But is there other things that you did that maybe helped you kind of get comfortable enough to be able to, you know, get out of that funk, I'll say?
Yeah. What Fred was saying too, I was just kind of listening to, you know, different podcasts and things that were just motivational. Something to just kind of get me, like you said, out of that funk.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows, you know, when you're in those, you know, depressive states, it's like a wet blanket. It just weighs you down.
That's a good analogy
I
there.
just had to, you know, pretty much rip it off and just get up and figure out what I was going to do next.
Yeah.
I didn't want to continue to stay in that black hole. That's not the personality that I have. And then, of course, kind of going back to my like, personality, everybody's expecting me to be this happy-go-lucky person. So when I'm like down and people are like, what's wrong? And I'm like, oh, I got to fix this, you know? So a bit of that, you know, was for other people, but at the same time, I know the gift that I have is just kind of, you know, spreading that joy and just being a positive person. So I just did what I had to do to get back to me,
Yeah.
the real me.
Oh, that's good. I love that.
Yeah.
She said I had to get back to me, okay?
That's
Because I
really
am
what it is.
Evo.
Yeah, I just
and
had
if
to
you
get
knew
back to
Evo,
me.
she does. She is like life of the party. You be like,
Positivity,
Evo.
yeah.
You know, y'all see it? It's here, it's real. My bad.
That was like her little commercial. That was like her little what was it? eHarmony. This is like a look at her. Look at the Match.com. Look at the look. On the side profile.
Crazy.
Ready. That just made me laugh. Okay, Fred. So Evo is. She politely told me that she is now open to dating, but she is not dating like that.
No.
Well, I won't say like that.
Yeah, I tried the dating apps. A lot of my friends, like Fred was saying, you know, people want to push you out. All right, girl, let's go. But I'm like, hold on, it's a pandemic. We gotta chill out for a
We in the
second.
middle of a pandorama.
You know, so that was one thing, the major thing kind of holding me back. And at the
Okay.
same time, I didn't want to go into something, you know, bringing what I had in my past because I wasn't able to let it go yet. I had to go through that, you know, grieving process of pretty much the death of my relationship.
That's good.
You have to, you know, heal from that. That way you're not continuously carrying that on and on and on. And I noticed with, you know, being on the dating apps, you know, people, what brings you here? And I'm just like, I'm rocking with my fiance. And then I'm like, oh, and I'm like, oh, I just keep talking about my fiance.
Did you do the same thing till you was talking about your ex?
Yeah.
Just got
like,
divorced.
You're like, I don't understand why.
And they're like,
And they're like,
oh, okay. And I'm like, oh, they didn't message me back.
Right. I wonder why.
I don't know why. What happened?
I'm like, I said what I had to say.
Right.
No, I said what I had to say. Not using these folks for therapy. Y'all, I'm gonna need y'all to work through that.
I didn't mean to, but they're all deleted now. So I'm just,
Yeah, I went through the dating apps.
yeah.
Did
It's
you?
just, that's not, a dating app is not going to put my personality out there. So I just feel like I'll just meet somebody, you know, organically, you know, grocery store, gas station, you know, walking through the mall, church.
Come on, Jesus.
Who knows, you know?
You see the shirt? I'm gonna need you to love God, read books, and be in therapy. Come talk to me.
Hallelujah.
Oh, God.
Praise be. Oh, sorry, that was handmade
Yeah,
still. Oh, wow. Pull that back. Reel that in, Lola.
It's a whole nother episode.
Okay. Let's talk about that. Well, I have two questions off of something. You see, you said a couple things.
Sorry.
So I want to talk. Sorry. So you said something about the healing. I want to talk about that, but I have a really serious question. It may be a silly question, but do you think like dating apps are like that? I don't know. Dating apps are funny, but do you think for people who may have been in serious relationships, whether divorced, engaged, long relationships, getting onto dating apps, do you think it helps or do you think it hurts?
I don't know about hurt, but it didn't help. It didn't.
Help at all.
It don't help.
It didn't help. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why they're deleted.
Yeah.
Fair? No.
Yeah, it help at all. I mean, it help a little bit.
Because you was,
Yeah.
so if you need something quick.
Yeah. You need that, you know, that confidence boost. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm wanted. Cool.
Somebody swipe right
You know what I
on
mean?
you.
Yeah, swipe right. I'm swiping right.
I'm swiping right. We
Like,
swiping
it
together.
It did its job for that, you know what I'm saying, at the time. But nah, I wasn't, you know, I was just dating out, but I wasn't I wasn't in a mental space where I was trying to find my next wife.
You was
or
trying to
my
find
next
something.
serious- Yeah. You found it. Tenderizer.
Yeah,
Did he call it tenderizer?
that's real.
That's what it is.
Y'all are disgusting.
Tenderizer.
I feel like
Tenderizer.
in the LGBTQ plus community, the dating apps are a lot different, especially for lesbians.
Really?
In the gay men aspect, there's tons of apps for those needs immediately.
Tinder, Grinder.
Yes.
Those are two.
Yeah,
Jacked,
those
I know
are
that
two,
one.
but there's plenty more out there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So for me, I was kind of limited, and then also with the main, you know, dating apps like Tinder, Hinge, and those things, you get a lot of like couples and stuff. So there's
Yes.
not, you know, a lot of fish in the sea,
Right.
you know, for that aspect. So plenty of fish didn't work for me either.
Since we're talking about fish.
Yeah. But it's different. And I
Yeah.
think also with women, you have those, they want to find this deep connection, like their next wife or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not what I was looking for. I was just
Okay.
kind of looking, you know, for honestly just kind of some entertainment,
Yeah.
if I'm, you know, being honest.
Of course.
I wasn't ready in a headspace, and I let people know off top, like, I'm not trying to be in a relationship. So if that's what you're here for.
Was that in your bio then?
Yeah. Well, you know, you have like the, you know, dating or, you know, whatever.
Casual.
Open, casual, you know, those kind of categories. So I definitely put that, but I was like, I'm not looking for a relationship. But I was looking forward to kind of getting to know someone different and just, honestly, with the pandemic going on, since you couldn't really go out and meet people.
Right. You didn't
that's
feel
the,
like
that's
it
the
was-
option that I had at the time.
Yeah.
So,
You can video date,
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I did, and it was actually kind of cool.
Oh.
It was my first time kind of doing that, and it was suggested, and I was like,
You want to like eat dinner
we're gonna
together?
watch, yeah, like had my food or whatever. She had her food, and then we were watching the same thing on Netflix, and
That's cute.
it was cool. It was cool. It was different, but it was cool. And then we talked, and yeah,
Clearly she ain't here, so yeah. There's that.
yeah, she's a friend. She's a good friend.
That's how they always are.
I mean, I ain't talked to her in like months, but she a friend.
So is she a good friend or is she a friend, Ebo?
She a friend. She a friend.
Are we gonna call her a friend or associate?
Associate.
Boom.
Much better choice.
Boom.
There we
in
are.
there.
There we
You
go.
got some associates, you know what, actually.
No, don't do that. No.
Right, I was like, let's not.
Don't do that. To
Fred
me.
said, calm down. He was like, you know why I'm here. Relax. Relax.
Right.
Pull that
Pull
back.
it, reel it in. If I talk about my experience, okay.
Fred? No one has.
Fred,
Fred went missing after that episode. I don't know.
Somebody's
Haven't seen him. Haven't seen him in months. I don't know.
and don't.
Cut the camera.
Oh, do we need to, look, we need to tell him to edit that out. Edit that out, all right? It might get a little wild. Yeah, dating apps, my perspective, if I'm just going to talk about my perspective real quick from the single and what the fuck is going on world, yeah. But I'm in the Midwest, so no shade if you're watching the Midwest. No shade. Just very weird to me. Maybe because I'm from the South. Mm-hmm. Things are just different. Definitely get a lot of couples. Definitely get a lot of, you know, my wife knows what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, does she? Does she? I think that's very weird. And
But most times she do.
most of the time she does. I mean, because she in the picture, so I assume so. But I don't know. Like, I feel like for me, I get a lot of, like, guys who will, you know, will match. And then they can't hold a conversation. It drives me insane. If you cannot have a conversation, please don't talk to me. Because clearly I can have a conversation myself. So, like, if you can't have a conversation, like, that drives me crazy. Or I've gone on some dates with some guys. Just very weird. That's the easiest way I can say it, the nicest way. They're just very weird. Or I don't connect with them. And I feel bad that I don't connect with them. But you don't connect, you don't connect. It is what it is.
I'm about to say, it is what it is.
Like, you can't force it, you know. But anyway, so your second comment that you were talking about is healing.
Yes.
Do you feel like you're fully healed enough to be able to be in another relationship? Or do you think that's an ongoing process that's always going to be?
Yeah, I might say, I feel like it's just going to be an ongoing process. I am in a space to where I feel healed enough to date. And if the possibility of a relationship happens, it happens, but that's not really kind of where my headspace is.
Yeah.
But I know I'm in a better place to where if it comes about, I can be ready for it.
Okay.
You know, to where I'm not bringing everything from my past relationship into the new, you know, just kind of had to, like I said, heal and just move on and figure out what I can do to fix my failure from the last time.
Yeah.
Because the goal of still wanting a wife and kids is still there.
Yeah.
And I think being over 30, closer to 40, it gets a little scary because you had a timeline of things and, you know, so it gets a little worrisome because you feel like that clock is running out for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm just trying to have a positive mindset. That's what's gotten me so far in life with everything I've been successful in. So just trying to do the same thing in the dating world again.
Yeah, I'm with it. I love it. And Fred, obviously, we know you're in a relationship, which we'll dive into in a second. But so I know you said it took you a couple years to finally kind of get out there. When did you feel like you were healed enough to entertain the idea of actually having another relationship, not just entertaining people?
Oh, just when I started going out and just started being my regular self. When I started mingling, talking to women, approaching women.
You felt like you were ready to have a relationship then? Or you felt like you were healed enough?
Oh, when I felt like I was healed enough?
Yeah.
Oh, like I said, when I had my confidence and I had like my goals in order, my priorities back straight, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Honestly, when I had some type of system with my ex, so far as like our child, you know, when all those other things were in order, then came like, okay, maybe I can talk to someone else.
The idea.
You know, but I didn't want to, because I mean, even with talking with people or getting to know someone, everybody has like their own bag of stuff, right? Everybody has their dirt. So it's like if my stuff isn't in order, I'm not trying to take on someone else.
Of course.
You know, because it's like even if just dating, if my life isn't in a certain order, like I'm not paying attention to you anyway. I mean, I'm gonna tell you straight up, like I can't, like I'm not able to, and this is the reason why. You know what I mean? Like I believe in if I'm not whole, or if I'm not at a certain level, like you know what I mean, I can't fill your cup if my cup's not full.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely.
And that's the big thing. Like if my cup's full, I can pour into you all day and all night, whatever you need. But,
Right.
you know, in the mental state, especially mentally, you know what I mean, spiritually, if I'm not correct, then, you know, that's
Yeah.
my foundation.
Yeah,
You know, if
what
I
are
don't
you
have a
gonna do?
foundation, like, what do you want? Like, it'll just be mess.
Yeah.
You know?
I kind of want to talk about that because, like, I am a firm believer in, like, when I come to a relationship where I am now, Loryn Denise, like, I'm coming to the table whole. And I need you to come whole as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes people are like, when people are like, that's my better half, which is fine, no shade.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like, I need that to be my better whole. Okay.
Yeah.
But
And I definitely wasn't whole. And I've realized that reevaluating my relationship, you know, there were things that I thought I was healed from and over, you know, in my past that I was not. So definitely want to make sure next time I'm coming to the table whole.
So you felt like in your engagement, you weren't whole.
No.
Oh,
No.
wow.
Well, see, one thing I learned is, like, people be like, oh, I can't live without this person. Like, it should never be that way. Like, my life should be great without you, but you should be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Improving it. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be,
Should be aiding until
I have to have you. You know what I mean? But we should be able to work together and make it better. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's why I think, like, the whole equally yoked thing comes from. You know what I mean? Because if it's like, I need you to be able to do this. Like, nah, you shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, it's nice to have that help, have that support, have that whatever you need. But you should be able to stand on your own. You know what I mean? Like, I know, you know, certain situations are harder than other. You know what I mean? Just like a relationship's never going to be 50-50. Like, I hate people come to the table with that. Like, it's going to be 90-10.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be 80-20.
Right.
It might be 100-0. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Depending on the situation, but it's
That's
like,
real.
you have to make that choice, you know? And
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people, they get into this Hollywood fantasy and think love is a beautiful thing, but man, love
ain't enough.
It's
Love is
brutal.
not enough.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
enough.
definitely.
Because those days when you
learned
wake
that.
up not loving that person.
It's a choice.
I have
It's
to
a
choose.
choice every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Choice every day.
You have to choose to like that person
You have
every
to
day.
choose to like that, but you got to look at them in the morning with they stink breath.
That's real. Because
Be
I'm
like, you
like,
know what? I love you. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, at least you didn't say. I was like, if he say a bonnet, I'm about to flip this table.
Nah.
Right.
I love bonnets.
Yep. Shout out to the bonnets.
Shout out to the bonnet gang. Gang. I can't stand y'all. Y'all are dumb. So, like, a little bit off of that, because this is an interesting question, especially for you. So, like, let's talk about submission. So, I think it's really interesting, you know, and again, if this is stereotype, please tell me. But, like, thinking of, like, two women and what that looks like from a biblical standpoint, it's man meets woman and So what was the conversation, or if there was a conversation, is there conversations around that whole submission piece?
Honestly, it's very different for everyone's relationship. So I can't speak for the whole community
Of course.
because there's different, you know, where you have, like myself, a more masculine woman, and then I was with a more feminine woman. So, of course, with the whole, like, you're going man and woman thing, I was more of the, you know, I guess man in a relationship. But then you
Right.
can have two feminine women together.
Right.
So, you know, it's really just based off kind of like personalities, honestly. But I wasn't submissive, I guess you could say. I don't want to say she was submissive, but
Yeah, it just wasn't the
we definitely
conversation.
kind of had, I guess, like gender roles in a way.
Okay.
Like I would pump the gas, and I always had to make
You
sure
take the trash
open.
out too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did those things. So yeah, I guess she was the more.
I feel like y'all probably
submissive one.
submitted to each other.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's just different, for whatever the situation may entail,
Yeah.
you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think people have just a skewed view of submission in general.
Yeah.
People think submit means like being weak to like your partner, and that's like not what it is at all.
Absolutely, and that's why I want to be, cautious with that word, because exactly what you just said, and I don't want to make it seem as if, I was out here, hey, woman, get in the kitchen. That's not the relationship we
Barefoot and
had.
pregnant.
But she could whip it up in the kitchen, and I do appreciate that.
She's sitting on, however, comma.
So anybody, that can whip it up in the kitchen, I'm here, because I don't cook. But
She knows how to cook.
I'm lazy, it's fine.
She has an air fryer now. A Ninja. Call her.
That's half the battle.
555-5555. That's funny. Fred, submission. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about, pouring into her cup. So I'm asking you that because when I hear that, I'm just telling you what I hear. You're like, I need, like, I can pour into you all day. Like, I'm not saying that a woman needs to come to you like her cup you can't pour into.
Right.
But if somebody's hearing that and they have, again, a skewed view of submission.
Submission to me is like you said, it's a tricky. Everybody looks at it as being weak.
Right.
But I think any woman you're with is, as a man, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, or if you're doing like what's needed in that relationship, then they won't have a problem submitting. You know, like a woman has to have something to submit to.
Correct.
Like you can't be out here saying
That's a word.
submit and you're not on. You know what I'm saying? You're not doing what you're supposed to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
it's submitting to each other. You know what I'm saying? Like when I say pour into her cup, I mean that's whatever she's going through. Like whether it's just something small, just talk about stress on her job, whether it's something big.
Bless you.
You know what I mean? It's sometimes just being there. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But to me, that whole word, it helps the relationship.
Yeah.
Because when my significant other see me do certain things, it makes her want to do certain things better. You know?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I need to do this better. Or he's doing this, I need to do that.
Yeah.
And that makes me more appreciative. And
Absolutely.
it just stacks on top of each other. You know, it's not, nobody's keeping score.
Of
You know
course.
what I mean? But it's like, if I'm with this person, say I love this person, you know, I'm going to automatically do these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's automatic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's contagious in a way. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like you got to have that foundation.
Yeah.
You can't submit to something that's
Not worth. Listen,
Not worth
let me
it,
tell you the
you know?
word. Let me tell you the good word that Fred just put out here. Okay, he didn't say it, but I'm gonna
Go,
say
Fred.
it in the nicest layman terms ever. Gentlemen, women, whoever you're in a relationship with, are you worthy to be submitted to? Y'all want all this submission, but are you even worthy to be submitted to?
right.
Soundbite.
Deep
Anyway,
question.
Yeah.
that's a deep question. I mean,
And I can admit, I wasn't looking back.
you weren't.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I had a lot of growing up to do. I thought I was grown. You know, I mean, I had a good job. I was living on my own. You know, but there was a lot of emotional maturity that I still needed to do, to where it would hinder, you know, even me, where it was times where I needed to submit that I couldn't, because I was like, no, like I'm not doing that. And it's like looking
That's
at, like
good,
you said,
yeah.
like a partnership. It's okay. Like it's a good word.
That's good. Yeah.
So learning through that, I definitely, you know, I'm understanding, you know, what it means to like submit and then being worthy of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Ooh, that's good. That's good. I like it. Sorry. All right. So we'll get out of that. I feel like all the divorce and engagement, we'll get out of that. I know it was stressful.
Nah, it's all right.
Sorry. Y'all
We,
did
we
wonderful.
healed over here.
We here. We good.
We good over here.
We're marching on.
Yes, sir.
Come on, healing. Come on, healing.
You know?
Did you say marching on?
Yeah, I guess I was going to church. I don't know
Right,
where
I was like,
going with
saints
that.
come marching in. Right, I was like, are we
Back-
about to
back- back-
sing?
right.
Hey, come on.
It's going to catch the Holy Ghost real quick.
Listen, I need.
Oh, Shaka Khan. All right. And I'm done.
She said Shaka Khan.
I can't even take her serious.
Shaka Khan.
Anyways, I'm not.
Shut about a Honda.
What is wrong?
Harry Belafonte.
Did you say Billy? What you say?
Harry Belafonte.
I'm sorry. If you are churchy and watching this, I'm so sorry. Because they are playing with God.
Oh, man.
Y'all are dumb. So we're going to get out of that, okay? And we're going to move on to the next. So, Fred. We'll go back to Fred. I know.
Okay.
Right. Turn ahead. Let's get into this interracial.
Let's get into it.
Okay, I would just like to say that I didn't bring this topic up. Fred brought this topic to me. Let's just let the record reflect. I never said anything. Excuse me?
No, sorry.
You're mic'd up. We can hear you. So anyway, you hear Fred? Y'all see Fred up here talking mess? I did not come. So I don't want nobody to be like, she wanna bring that. I did. Fred came to me. So Fred, you are in an interracial relationship
Yes, I am.
with a Caucasian woman. That is a politically correct term. And so Fred wanted to talk about his woes of it, which I think is interesting because, like, you know, we, of course, like in the Black community, we always gonna, you know, say what we say, you know, but I can imagine you being in the relationship, and I've never really heard it from a man's perspective, because for me, I don't have a problem in a relationship. My brother-in-law is white, and I love him. Or brother-in-love, as I call him, I love him. But the problem is for me when I see black men dating women of other races is I feel like they beat down black women in the interim of that. They're like, oh, well, I don't date black women because they're not submissive, or they got an attitude, or they're bossy, or, there's always something outside of that.
I've been in a couple interracial relationships, and like the stigma that black women get, that's every race. There's no, woman is woman. They want the same things. You know what I mean? So I don't know why that rolls over to just black women. Mm-hmm. Like the current relationship I'm in, she is just as vocal. You know what I mean? Those same things. So that's something that growing up, that you hear. So that's something that you just believe.
Yeah.
Not seeing the other side of the leaf or whatever. But the whole even the whole thing with strong black woman.
Yeah.
It's you don't hear that with any other race. It's why do you have to be a strong black woman? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that bothers me. But no, I never tear black. I love black women. I love myself. How can you say you love yourself if you don't love black women?
And he loved his mama.
Yeah, of course. My mom, my nieces, my sister. You know what I mean? So it's nothing to me. That wasn't even on the table. I never.
It wasn't even a thought process.
Hey, you know what? I want a white girl today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It never was a fantasy or anything like that. It happened like any other relationship.
Yeah.
I was at the gym. We had a short conversation. She reached out. We went on a date, and things just developed from there.
Right.
Now, of course, her being Caucasian, when things got a little bit more serious, when I started to meet her family, it was okay, what am I getting into? We're in the South. She's from Douglasville. This is as southern, as it gets. I'm okay,
this could go
left or right. So, me being me, I'm automatically already on the swivel.
Right.
Watch what you say. You know what I mean? And fortunately, her family was great.
Yeah.
In my case. You
yeah.
know? But so far as the relationship, I can say the only difference I can see, stuff we go through, especially now. You know what I mean? She can't relate to it.
I was about to ask.
And she knows she can't relate to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But she's still there. Mm-hmm. And that helps. Sometimes that's enough. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I would want to, you know what I mean, have that conversation without trying to explain why I feel this way. Mm-hmm. But it's she's not going to understand it because she's never been black.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Do you have to explain to her, or do you just kind of allow yourself to feel and she's able to be there?
She's very aware. Mm-hmm. I feel in this relationship I'm fortunate because she's very big on social justice and all that stuff. So she's aware. So when we do have these conversations, it's more of her listening and taking it in. More
trying to get her understanding.
Than trying to, and I think that's the correct way to do it.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to give your opinion or compare yourself. You know what I mean? Because it's not the same. You know what I mean? And that's something I could definitely appreciate.
Yeah. No, I appreciate her doing that and not feeling well, in my world, it's
because it's not the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one thing I had to explain to one of my friends. Not getting off subject, but he has a son. And, you know what I'm saying? Sons around the same age. And I told him, I was like, man, he really didn't understand the difference. And I'm until we can raise our kids the same. Mm-hmm. It's never going to be. It's things that I have to worry about that, you know what I'm saying, you don't think about.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm if the police come to your house and bring your kid home, you're probably more relieved. If I see the police show up at my door, I'm terrified. You know what I mean? Because police, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
The things that are going on, you know what I mean? And it's, but so far as that, it helps a lot.
Yeah.
But so far as relationship standpoint, I really don't think it make a difference what race you are. The men and women are gonna want the same things. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that whole black women are submissive, they're loud. I think that's total BS.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even know. Well, that's a whole nother episode of where that comes from, but that's neither here nor there. So, Evo, let's talk about interracial dating within the LGBTQ plus community, because from what I've heard, it is a little bit segregated. We'll just say here in Atlanta, because we're not going to generalize. So let's talk about that and what that looks like and how that works for you.
Yeah, the Midtown is very segregated within, racially within their clubs. Like Juniper and Midtown area, that's more catered to white gay men, and then we only have one lesbian bar here in Atlanta. So they'll have a certain night that's catered towards, black women, and the rest of their, Fridays, Saturdays kind of, catered more towards their, white counterparts, I'll say. So when it came to dating and figuring out where to go,
if you wanted someone who looked like you.
Yeah, it was kind of difficult if, I was with, someone who was white. That's not a situation I dealt with my ex-fiance.
Right.
But in the past, it was kind of like, oh, I like going to, this R&B night.
Right.
And you like house and EDM.
Right.
But I could get down with anything.
Right,
so
of course.
It was okay, but that struggle on just being able to go out, when we're going to dinner, having the looks of being in a same-sex couple, and then I know if we want to go out somewhere after dinner, I still have to worry about the looks of where we go.
Yeah.
So
it was not only the compounding of like being a same-sex couple, now you add the interracial on top of it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say does that deter you, because obviously it doesn't. You love who you love, right?
Right. No, not at all. I just know that's just something I'm going to have to deal with. Dealing with it in my 20s is going to be different than dealing with it in my 30s.
Right.
I've been there. I know what it is now. The world is kind of changing. People's mindsets are evolving. They're understanding a little bit more what it's like to be black in America. So you don't have to, explain as much.
Yeah.
What that struggle is,
right?
Because it is difficult to do that.
Because what am I?
Not black.
Right.
Right.
So when you get in your next relationship, so obviously we talked about like having that explanation of like being black in America. Is it hard, or like you said, now being in your 30s, having to have that conversation about the divide in the LGBTQ plus community? Do y'all is that conversations that you have?
I've had it with my friends, like not with someone that I've dated,
right?
Because it's very evident. Like it's
oh, is it?
Yeah. It's clear cut right there in your face. So as far as being with someone, having that conversation, I haven't had that opportunity to do so. Honestly, it's a conversation I don't want to have, because I'm hoping that within what's going on with the world, and we don't have to have that conversation. Yeah. Because it's crazy that within a community that's already, looked differently upon, we have this issue of, segregation and whatnot. We should be coming together more, because we all have that same struggle. Yeah. But, at the end of the day, race is race.
Yeah. No, I think that's crazy that there's such this, because we were talking about it kind of off camera a little bit of, when you look at the LGBTQ plus community, like how strong it is and how like y'all get shit done. Like it just is like how y'all band together and get things done. But then I hear from you and I hear from other people within the community how there's this segregation and even like a ageism kind of thing. Like sometimes it's like the young, I don't want to say young versus old, like East Side versus West Side, but you know what I mean? Like there's that part of it. So.
Absolutely. I feel like we can come together for that common goal, especially when it came for marriage equality. I think that's where we just, we knew we had to come together on that. That was a common goal that everybody wanted. But social justice, is that what everybody wants?
Right.
Those things were still kind of, going through. Yeah. So, when it benefits everyone, that's when no matter the race,
Ebonie out here preaching is what y'all don't know. Because that is not just for like, that is.
That's what it is.
I just had to stare at you for a second because that's a word.
Yeah. So, I'm hoping with growth and change and everyone just kind of being in a more woken state.
Come on, woke.
We don't have to continue to have this conversation or continue to see the division because we understand when we come together as a community, whether that's the LGBTQ plus, Black, when we come together, change is possible. And we've seen it, with the George Floyd case, everything. It should have been a situation where we're scared that Derek is not going to be prosecuted
Terrified.
for the murder he committed.
Correct.
That everyone saw.
Correct.
So we see the power of everyone protesting, and that was internationally. So if we can, just kind of come together within our community, just stopping this division, good things will happen.
When Ebo hit you with this, I want y'all to know that was like, I was focused. I was like, she hit me with them hands. I said, oh, let me pay attention. I'm like, what was that, sis? Yes.
Let's come together. That's
Power, yes.
Power to the
Together.
people. All people.
All the people. All the peoples. I'm sorry, that just took my spirit. Fred, let's get into this interracial relationship a little bit more. So let's talk about a family dynamic. Because I know you said you met her family and it was cool. But I know I make fun of you a lot because you're just my friend. And I'm always
that
gonna do
comes with it.
Right,
Yeah.
that's just part of the territory.
I don't do that.
I appreciate that.
Do you feel like you're better than me?
Yes. No, I'm kidding.
Show's over.
I know it's struggle.
Show is over. Thank you guys for coming. No, but for real, like, do you feel like you get like that? Because like you was talking about the looks. Obviously, I know you get the looks.
I mean, so far as like in a family, no. Of course, when we started dating and that started coming up, I had a million questions, right? You know what I mean? Like, hey, is this the first Black guy you bringing home, or like things of that sort of? How do your family?
That's what you were
feel?
asking her.
Asking her,
Yeah.
But her family was open. I mean, I felt like I said, like walking into the situation, I was coming in with my shield up. You know what I mean? Expecting something. You know what I mean? Because usually that's what happens. And when I met her family, it was like whole family.
Now let me ask: do you think if she wasn't white, you would have that shield up? Because I know you've been in another interracial relationship prior to that.
It's always a funny position. You know what I mean? To meet whether they're Black or not. So you meet someone's family for the first time.
Right.
But no, not at all. I wouldn't have. Had
You'd have been a
shield
little
up.
more.
I'd have been a little bit more comfortable.
If she
You know
was.
what I mean? Yeah, and she helped with that. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I made sure that she was comfortable, meeting my family and making sure, that we're all on the same page. And
Right.
I even I went as far as having a discussion with my family just to know, where
How
I
they
am and
felt.
where we are and how I felt with her. So they would know, you know what I mean? Like, okay, this is someone he's really,
So don't
serious
come out here
with.
playing.
Yeah, I'm not out here playing. Yeah, right. You know what I'm trying to say.
I got you.
Yeah. So I mean, but luckily, I mean, I've been in like previous relationships where it's been, a couple situations, unfortunately. But I mean,
With family?
with like meeting their family.
Okay.
Like people get comfortable and they share their opinions. But it's at the same time, it's if I really care for that person, it can't. It makes you upset. But I try not to let it interfere with, the current relationship that I'm in. But I mean, that's like conversation for later on.
Of course.
Explain, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to be somewhere and, someone shares something and you see them at another event and it just becomes a thing. You know? So, I mean, and I think that just comes with being in a relationship. There's going to be extra stuff you're going to have to deal with. The looks when you go out and people's opinions and, all that stuff. But I mean.
Do you feel like those outside sources, well, I know you guys' relationship is strong, so I get it, but like, do you feel like just in general when you're doing, I don't want to say doing, when you're in an interracial relationship, that those outside forces can have an influence on your relationship? And maybe this is a question for both of y'all.
I mean, like, what you mean, like, when it comes from, like, family and friends?
Yeah, and even, like, just maybe the looks, like, maybe that becomes...
The looks don't bother me as much as, like, I don't know those people. So their opinion really don't matter to me.
Right.
And, I mean, I've never had a situation where it got ugly.
Right.
Just, people might mumble something to whoever they're with, or, you can tell that they're talking about you. Like, I get that a lot. But I'll notice it and, kind of acknowledge to her and just, like, you move on. Now, I think if it's coming, like, from a place of, like, if her mother felt a certain way or her best friend and they're constantly putting it in your ear, I think that it could definitely become a problem because that's going to be something long term.
Yeah.
Like, we continue. Like, is her view really going to change? You know what I mean?
You're a Trump
I mean,
supporter.
people can change their views, but you know, it's not likely.
Right.
You know, if your mom's 60 and this is how she thinks, that's pretty much how she is. So that's a. I mean, that I won't say it's a deal breaker, but I mean, it's definitely a big decision.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
If your dad doesn't approve, you know, on both sides.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I mean, there's times where we've gone out and my ex-fiance would have her ring on and say, my fiance's over there.
Right.
And they would still be like, well, is she okay with you dancing with a man, or are you sure that's what you really want to do? Oh yeah, men can be very disrespectful to lesbian couples.
Oh, wow.
Very much so. I mean, there was times we were at the mall and I had to step in because I'm like, she's telling you she's good. Like, leave it alone. And they're just, you know, I don't know what it is. They're just, I guess, the machismo situation. They just feel like they can just step in because I'm a female and take my female.
Right.
You know, kind of thing. So that and the looks and, you know, or little comments, you know, we had a solid foundation when it came to that. Those situations, you know, because I wasn't one, I couldn't go out here and just, hey, you know, you can't. I had to pick and choose my battles within situations because honestly, you just never know the psyche of somebody else. So I have to be careful, you know, going up to these men, you know, trying to defend my woman,
I hate
you know,
that.
our relationship.
Yeah, because now I got to fight a man.
Yeah. It was crazy at times. You know, some people, they would be respectful, but a lot of times if those guys were trying to come at her, they were going to keep coming just because I was a female.
Evo. I don't even know what to say about that.
Yeah, it was crazy. But,
Oh my gosh.
you know.
Well, I'm glad you're not out here fighting men.
No. I ain't fighting, no.
No, I've seen some.
No.
That's not, no. See that, ladies? My girls are loving out of fire. Why do we weak at the same time? Obnoxious. So we're going to wrap this up because I think this has been an amazing conversation for you both. I always like to ask my guests at the end, you know, because we're talking about the woes and the grief of dating. And again, I didn't really get into my whole single story because, woo, it's a doozy. It's just a doozy because, like, I have to navigate the dating world without my parents and having to explain to people that both of my parents are gone. They immediately, like, assume you're in this, like, weird depressive state all the time. And they're like, oh, you're smiling, you're happy? What do you, like...
What's wrong with you?
Right. And they're like, and I'm like, yeah, my parents passed. And they're like, you know, just like people just, I mean, you know, people just don't know what to say. But I'm like, I don't like need you for like, to bring me along. Like, I'm fine. Like, you know, I live with my grief every day. Like, I move forward in it. So again, whole doozy, that'll be a whole nother conversation. But I guess my last question to you both is, well, you're dating someone in a relationship and you're out here dating. So I guess from the perspective of maybe like being in long relationships, because that's something that you guys can both connect on. What advice do you have to someone, you know, whether they were in a long relationship, whether they were married and divorced or engaged, coming out of that? What advice would you give them coming into the dating world? And what like kind of positive, I don't want to say affirmations, but the only word I can think of, would you like give to them for them to, you know, come out here and be, I'm coming out. Oh my God, that was terrible. That was so wrong. Sorry, Evo. But
It's okay.
Right, but you know what I mean. What words of wisdom? Last words of wisdom. Look at the deep thought.
You got it.
All right. I would just say, I mean, just have to take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
As cliche as it is, like you're, you know, every day you're dealing with your grief, you know, with the loss of your parents, but it's not a situation where it's holding you back from your day-to-day life.
Right.
So, you know, go through that, you know, anger, go through the, you know, sorrow, go through whatever emotions you need to go through till you can move forward. And then just take it one day at a time. You don't have to jump right out there and, you know, people will say the best way to get over somebody is to get under.
Dumb.
it's no, it's not.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a Band-Aid. You know, it's just a Band-Aid, and you're not going to heal. So take whatever steps, however long it takes for you to get there, one day at a time, and you'll be all right.
I love that. That's good.
Yeah.
Come on, piggyback.
I mean, you hit it on the head. The only thing I would add to it is, I think growth is important.
Absolutely.
I think coming out of those situations, like, you need to evaluate, because like the more you grow, the more you learn about yourself. You know what I mean? The better off you'll be. You know what I'm saying? It's all about having that foundation. Like she said, one day at a time. And knowing it's okay to feel a certain way. Like if you're angry, it's okay. If you're sad, like whatever emotion that is, like deal with it and kind of move on.
Right.
But at the same time, you just take your time and try to grow. Like she said, one day at a time. That's pretty much what I have to add. I mean, to me in the dating world, there's no need to rush. You know? Like the best relationships that I've had were the ones I weren't looking for.
So I found my fiance, and well, I mean, I didn't work out, but
Like,
Triggered.
I wasn't out there like, hey, I need to find this type of chick or this type of girl, or you know, it's just naturally
Just
grew,
happened.
you know, from a conversation. Because I mean, to me, it's like when I take that away and I'm meeting a person just to genuinely meet them. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm holding.
pressure.
I don't have anything above that I'm trying to get to. There's no goals. We're genuinely just trying to find a connection.
Yeah.
Like that builds the best relationships. Man,
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
I mean, those are the relationships where I'm more open, I'm more comfortable. The trust is there because everything is organic.
Yeah.
You know? So that's, I mean, that's the biggest thing that I would say.
Well, I just want to thank my wonderful friends, Evo and Fred, again, for being here. I hope y'all really enjoyed that conversation. Like I said, I wanted to dive deeper into relationships than just single male, single female, talking about the grief. I can do that all by myself, and I still might. This is actually gonna be like a part one, because I do have a woman who's gonna be coming on talking about dating after losing her spouse. Her spouse passed away, and she is now dating someone. She's very happy, but she was telling me all types of stuff that goes on with that. And so this is kind of like a part one, you know what I mean? And so we'll do a part two, and maybe I'll tell y'all about all my single girl woes. Woo, might be 2 hours. But I just want to thank you guys so much again for being here. This was an amazing conversation. I love how y'all kind of both were like twofold with it. I was like, boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? You know, right, my guys, and girl, you know, and girl, you know, but I hope you guys enjoyed this candid conversation. I know if you guys are looking on YouTube, you know, thank you so much. If you're listening, you know, just listening to me on Apple or wherever, thank you so much again for listening to another week's episode of This Too Shall Suck podcast, a fresh perspective on grief, and I will see you guys on the next episode. All right, my loves, I hope you all enjoyed that episode. You can actually listen to This Too Shall Suck podcast, a fresh perspective on grief, on all listening platforms. And make sure, if you're not already, following me on social media on Instagram and on Facebook at This Too Shall Suck podcast. And you can hit my website as well. Learn more about your girl, Loryn Denise, at www.thistooshallsuckpodcast.com. If you love this episode, if it resonated with you, make sure you hit that like button. Let me know, because I know I need to make more videos like that for you. And meet me in the comments. Let's talk about it. I love, love, love talking to y'all. And make sure you definitely hit that little bell, that little subscribe button. Thank you guys as always, and I'll see you on the next episode.